King Solomon's army. Now, that's an interesting expression. What is that exactly? So in Prince of Persia The Forgotten Sands playthrough part 2, Solomon's army gets mentioned a couple of times. Malik wants to break a seal to release it, thinking it will protect the kingdom from invaders. So I went to Wikipedia to figure out what this army might be. And it turns out there is something like it. It's called the Testament of Solomon. In this text, Solomon is said to have controlled demons using a magical ring that was entrusted to him by the Archangel Michael. This army isn't made of regular soldiers, but rather it's a demonic army. And I guess that might be what the game is referencing, with the sand creatures and the Ifrit-like creature Ratash, who we encounter in the game. There are other interesting things connected to Solomon too. For example, the Greater Key of Solomon, a grimoire, a textbook of magic. It includes instructions for creating magical objects, summoning spirits, performing divination, and even controlling supernatural entities. Then there's the Lesser Key of Solomon, or Lamagaton, which is another famous grimoire. These texts are often attributed to Solomon, but here's the thing, they weren't actually written by him. In fact, many of them were written centuries later, during the Middle Ages and Renaissance. They are not part of the Bible, and there's probably a reason for that. If you dive deeper, you'll find that the Testament of Solomon and other grimoires were likely written between the 1st century AD and the Middle Ages, far after Solomon's reign. And when you look at the Key of Solomon and the Lesser Key, they date back to the 17th century and are based on ideas from the Testament. So these ideas about Solomon controlling demons through his magical ring were not originally his. None of this is in the Bible. Of course, most of it came centuries later, during the Middle Ages, which doesn't surprise me because the Middle Ages and Renaissance era are typically known for these types of occult knowledge. Back then, people were obsessed with uncovering mysteries, trying to discover the true nature of the universe, and were even willing to extend their life or youth by any means. So it's a pretty interesting topic to read about, but maybe not one you want to dive too deep into, because then you might find yourself actually studying grimoires, spells, magical seals, Kabbalah, and all that weird Renaissance era occult stuff people were obsessed with back then. Which, yeah, that kind of thing nowadays in the 21st century feels a little bit weird to do. All of that and even more in my playthroughs. Feel free to check them.